Well, it's official. Smash Bros. Is coming to the Nintendo Switch. You know, I had a whole thing written like, oh, Smash Switch is coming, and these are the characters I want, but I'm gonna assume that you guys have seen this all before, and all the thousands upon thousands of speculation videos, so let's just get to the point. But what about Fire Emblem reps? Okay. Hold on. As of Smash 4, Fire Emblem already has an almost absurd amount of representation. Many would argue too much. I think some characters could get consolidated or even cut entirely to make room for new ones. I'd like to go over some possible options for new characters from the Fire Emblem series that could be added. Now, many people would say that a new Fire Emblem character shouldn't even be added at all. And while I don't really agree, I have a place on that list for that person in particular. In addition, I also asked you guys on Twitter for your suggestions, and honestly, a lot of us had the same answers. I'll also go over a few of your suggestions in the honorable mention section that didn't quite make the list. Now, with all that said, the number 5 slot goes to nobody. Now, hold on. Let me explain this one. Because I do have a solution that goes back around and gives us new Fire Emblem representation, just not in the form of a character. Let me explain. In my opinion, I don't think Sakurai likes to or wants to cut any characters. He and the team work hard to make them, so cutting them seems like a waste. That said, with 6 reps under Fire Emblem's belt, and assuming Lucina doesn't get converted into a Marthault, it's possible they simply just won't add any more characters from Fire Emblem. Fire Emblem 16 might get delayed to 2019, Fates already has its rep, and Nico's protagonist is another Falchion user. Much as I like Alm, I don't think he'd be very unique. So, no new Fire Emblem reps. But instead of that, I propose a different way to include new Fire Emblem representation. You remember items? Yeah, you know that thing that you kind of forget about whenever you play because everyone thinks Smash should be this competitive 1v1 fest? Well, 2 items let you summon NPC characters to temporarily assist you in battle. The Pokeball lets you summon various different Pokemon, while Assist Trophies let you summon a smorgasbord of characters from all sorts of franchises. In fact, they already have a Fire Emblem one in the form of Lyn. It's a nice way to include a character into the game without the time and effort of balancing and tuning a full moveset for them. Well, I propose a 3rd summon item, the Odin, how do you say it again?
Your divine weapon's name is Breathoplik?
Really? Alright, you're the boss. This item would let you summon various Fire Emblem characters to help you on the battlefield. And I mean any Fire Emblem character. Unlike this list and playable characters where I think we really want to stick with primarily main lords, you can have pretty much anyone show up with this item. I mean, I think it's a great idea. You could summon Fjorm to use her ice attack that she does in the Book 2 movie, the Black Knight could come out with a powerful sword slash, you'd have Evil Robin come out and wreck the stage with Grima, Xander can travel through the stage on horseback, you can even get some of the wackier picks out there with like Summer Frederick throwing seashells at the player, or Christmas Crom whacking people with his sack of gifts. It would be a really fun way to add new Fire Emblem representation without sacrificing nor further bloating the character roster. And the best part, literally anybody is fair game. Now, shortly before finalizing the script for this video, I asked you guys on Twitter who you guys would like to see from Fire Emblem make it into the next Smash Brothers. And to be honest, we were pretty much in agreement. In fact, the top 3 names that were coming up were already in my top 3 before I even asked. But we'll get to those in a bit, as well as some of the more out there responses in the honorable mention section. But there was one character a few of you guys suggested that caught my eye. And that character is none other than our favorite shopkeep with the universe's biggest family, Anna. Now, at first I was a little puzzled by this suggestion. I mean, of all characters, why her? But then I thought about it a bit more and realized, honestly, she would be perfect as a gag character. Smash Bros. Is no stranger to off-the-wall characters with very wacky movesets. Characters like Wii Fit Trainer and Game & Watch come to mind. I mean, for crying out loud, Wario is a character who attacks by biting people, riding a motorcycle, and farting. I think we have some wiggle room here. No pun intended. So I think Anna would work as a great joke character with a really unique moveset. As for her general moves, I think she should be an archer, as that's the most common weapon most Annas share, and it would be very unique to have an archer-focused moveset in the game. Everything else I think should be taken less from her actual in-game fighting style, and more derived from her personality as a quirky shopkeep with a suspiciously big family across the entire Fire Emblem multiverse. She could have moves where she throws coins to trip the opponent, similar like Diddy Kong with his banana peel. She can use the weapons of all Annas as her specials, like Heroes Anna's axe, or Awakening Anna's Levin sword. She could call Jake in for an attack, like Zelda's down special. For her final smash, she could throw treasure at the opponent and then have a horde of Annas trample and beat them up, similar to her Warrior's Victory animation. There's a lot to play with here, and you can even use the opportunity to have all of her palette swaps just be every other Anna in every game, from FE7 Anna to Teleus Anna and Arcanea Anna, Awakening Anna, Fates Anna, Heroes Anna, and Warriors Anna. It's just a bunch of Annas. I think it'd be a great idea. If there's anyone who deserves to be in Smash and who has been talked about to death for Smash, it's Hector. A common complaint with the Smash roster is that too many characters, even outside the Fire Emblem roster, wield swords. Link, Cloud, Shulk, Pit to an extent. Add that on top of the 6 Fire Emblem reps who all use swords, and you could really use some diversity. I can't think of anyone else better to do that than Hector with his Mighty Axe. Mighty Axe? Did I really write that? It's no doubt that Hector is also a very popular character in the community, having recently just struck first place in the recent Choose Your Legends poll for Fire Emblem Heroes. He's one of the strongest characters in his game, and he has an interesting and fun personality, and a lot can be taken from his game and adapted into moves. You can get really creative with Hector. For his up special, he can take a big leap into the air and then slam down on his opponents. Kinda like Ether, but with more horizontal movement. His side special can be throwing a hand axe, kinda like Link's boomerang. His down special could be the famous Hector Copter, and given that he's kind of an armored unit, he'd have a slower moveset than the rest of the characters, similar in speed to someone like Ganondorf. But his attacks would be extremely powerful with high knockback. We've seen how you can adapt moves into flashier, more exciting variants with Lin's moveset in Fire Emblem Warriors. And we need some weapon variety in our Fire Emblem cast, and Hector fills that gap perfectly. Oh, and as an aside, can we also put Hector in Fire Emblem Warriors? I mean, I'm just saying, Lin's looking a little lonely over there. I think she needs a friend. And speaking of weapon variety, how about a lance? A lance user would be a lot of fun because you could play with a focus on attacking from a longer melee distance than a sword or an axe user. And there's no one better to represent him than the confident lancer, Ephrem. I'll be completely honest, I'm not actually the biggest Ephrem fan. I think he's kinda overrated and a bit of a Gary Stew. But hot damn would I want to play as him in Smash! He's also the only main lord in the franchise who wields a lance as his primary weapon, so he's pretty much the only lancer option we've got, since anyone outside main characters are long shots at best. And he's clearly proven popular enough since you guys seemed to like him when I asked you on Twitter, and he just placed second in the Choose Your Legends poll for Heroes. Like I said, since Ephrem wields a lance, his focus would be on attacking from long distances and giving a lot of space between him and his opponent. I feel like you could play very strategically with Ephrem, because he could also be fast while also keeping distance. He wouldn't have many weaknesses other than he'd be easier to knock out, or he'd be very light, like Marth. I don't really know how you translate his moves, but I'm sure Sakurai can figure it out. He's proven to be pretty good at it. Alright, so here's the honorable mention section. So like I said, I asked you guys on Twitter who you guys would like to see from Fire Emblem get into Smash. I'm just gonna kind of do this unscripted because there's a lot of entries that you guys submitted, and there's a lot of opinions that I have on those entries. So I just like to go over them real quick and sort of like a real quick thing. I really need to write scripts for these. A lot of you said Celica as your choice, and I think that could work. The only thing I see being a problem is, first of all, they'd have to handle her way better than they did in Warriors, where they just got lazy and made her a Marth clone. But, you know, they'd also have to differentiate her from Robin, who also uses a sword and a tome. So I guess if you could do it, I'd just be worried that they'd either make her a Robin clone or just not do her very well. But I think if you did that, you'd have to base her on her Echoes variant and not her Gaiden variant. But I think that could be a good choice. She's also very popular because we recently won Choose Your Legends, so there's an audience for her, for sure. A couple of people said Azura, and I also really agree with that one. The only reason I didn't put her on the list was just because, like I said, I don't think Sakurai wants to cut anybody, and I think he would want to keep Corrin. And I think it'll be weird to have 2 Fates reps in there. So, like, the only way I could see Azura getting in was if they decided to cut Corrin or keep him as DLC or something, and then just replace him with Azura. And we've seen how Azura can, fight with a unique moveset, as, she was in Warriors and she had a lot of cool movesets. She could throw waves, do like, she could have like a whole like area of water surrounding her, which I think could even be a counter, because I guess every Fire Emblem character needs to have a counter for whatever reason. There's a lot you could do with her, and she's another Lancer, so that would also be a good choice, I think. A good chunk of you made the general suggestion of just a solo mage unit, like no sword, just full mage. And while I think that would be really cool as a Smash moveset, I can't see anybody who would fit that role, because Smash, I think, wants to focus on main characters, and I guess the only person I could think who would fit that role is Micaiah. But even then, the only thing is about that is, first of all, Radiant Dawn's a pretty old game, and Micaiah is not exactly very popular. I couldn't see her getting in, like, realistically. I could see her maybe, like I said, I could see her being, or any mage unit being, like, in the Breedablick category, where it's like an assist trophy kind of thing. But I don't see that happening unless the FE16 Lord, who I'll talk about in a minute. He's not number 1, but we'll talk about him. Unless he's a mage only, which would be interesting. I'd be down for a mage only or magic only Lord. That would be pretty cool. A good few of you said Tiki would be a good choice. That would be cool, but again, it falls on the same, like, non-main character, it's unlikely. But I think it would be really cool, because I think it's not like, turning into a dragon is unheard of for a Smash moveset, since we have Corrin. So I think it could, if you were to do it, it could work. I'm just saying it's not very likely. Epic Link Sam mentioned that Chrom should finally get his time to shine. I don't think I want Chrom in, because I think he would be way too similar to either Marth or Ike or even Roy. I think he'd be very similar to either of those characters, so I don't think it would be worth it. So there's 2 ways I could see that Chrom happening. I don't think it's impossible. I think Chrom would either be a costume, or that he could be a clone, but I think he'd more likely be a costume. Or if they were to change Robin's moveset up and, like, replace some of his moves, I think having Chrom as part of Robin's moveset, or have them be like a duo kind of thing, kind of like with Ice Climbers, where it could be like a duo thing, would be interesting, because I think the Switch can handle it. So I think that would be an interesting way to include him. Have instead of just Robin, be Robin and Chrom. I think that could be a cool way to include him. You're right. He does deserve it. He deserves his time to shine. He just keeps getting shit on. And a surprising amount of you said Alm, which, like I mentioned before, I don't think, again, it's the same situation as Chrom. I think he'd be too similar to any of the other Falchion users. So I don't know, it's the same situation. I think if he were to get in the game, I'd want him as a costume, maybe for Roy if he's back, or it could be similar to what I suggested for Chrom. He could be like a partner for Celica. It would be Alm and Celica together. I think that could be cool. I don't know. Now for number 1, the obvious choice would be to pick whoever is the Lord for the upcoming Fire Emblem game for Nintendo Switch. Assuming it's still coming out in 2018, it would be a great way to promote the game and get people familiar with the character. It's been done twice before with Roy and Corrin, who were put into the game before their games even came out. And while that is the most likely option, it's pretty boring to talk about. I mean, we literally don't know anything about that character. We don't even have a title for his or her game. We don't have a setting. We don't have a class. We don't have a name. We don't have anything. So it's just boring. So the next option would be someone who's extremely popular, especially recently, someone who's technically been in Smash already, and someone who would have a fast-paced, interesting moveset. Can you see where I'm going with this? Unsurprisingly, a vast amount of you voted for Lyn. And that's no surprise, really. She's clearly exploded in popularity recently, with her being included in Fire Emblem Warriors, with her winning the first Choose Your Legends event, with her having 4 different variations in Fire Emblem Heroes, it just makes sense. Lyn is also a very important character in Fire Emblem history, as she's basically the Marth of the US fanbase. She was the first lore from the very first game that reached US shores. It's clear that the people love Lyn and want her fast-paced Shadow Clone Jutsu style swordplay. And she'd be quite different from the other sword wielders, so it's not too big of a deal that she also wields a sword like everybody else. It would also be a perfect opportunity to fill the female fighter slot should Lucina get consolidated as a costume from Marth. Like I said, she has really interesting, unique movements that could be pulled directly from both her game as well as stuff like Fire Emblem Warriors. She could split herself and have like shadow clones, and she could just attack very fast. I can imagine her being pretty top tier. Moreover, Lyn was already an assist trophy for the past 2 games. And after Little Mac got his promotion in the last game from assist trophy to fully fledged character, I think Lyn's time has come for her to get that same treatment. And you know, any excuse to hear more of Wendy Lee as Lyn, I'll take it. I think she'd be a great addition. Just maybe tone down the jiggle physics a little. Would you like to support my videos directly? Or maybe you'd like to chat with me in a small private Discord? Or maybe you want to see my videos 1 to 2 days earlier than everybody else? If any of these apply to you, why not support my Patreon? For $1 a month, you get access to my special Patreon exclusive Discord. And you'll get exclusive work in progress and behind the scenes for all of my videos, including my terrible ones, so get ready for the shitposts. For $5 a month, you get your name at the end card of all of my videos, as well as access to my videos 1 to 2 days before everybody else gets to see them. You'd be doing me a solid, supporting the channel, supporting what I do. It would mean the world to me if any of you guys would like to.